So it's another Saturday, which means that it's a birthday. What are you doing?
Slapping on some cold galv on our last grey water tank. It should be almost there in terms of the main components of the plumbing system. Then it's just all the pipe work that goes to and fro.
Otherwise, our mission is to try get that kitchen as close to fixed in as we can get it. Hopefully that means all fixed in, but we need to prime the wall behind it and varnish the windowsill behind it. To show what I was just talking about, we've got the kitchen. So this is it. Obviously it's in a bit of a state. So Dylan's out here working on the kitchen. And I'm working on this wall. So I've got that first layer down there. Dylan's, you can hear him now, he's getting onto it on the kitchen side of things. Got that on camera.
Like I didn't snap the blade.
Yeah. When it came to interior, both Dylan and I could agree on the fact that we wanted to try our best to source second-hand pieces and work them to fit into the bus. Not only was this a cost-effective idea, but also we were wanting to reduce our impact on the earth every way we could with this build. The kitchen unit Dylan worked on was from the 70s, out of an old Kiwi batch down south, that we snapped up for $30, which made it worth the time and effort for Dylan to cut it down and rework the cupboards, to get exactly what we wanted to suit the bus. Meanwhile, I was taking on some smaller jobs like sanding and varnishing the windowsills and smoothing out the curved wall with some wood putty. So, I've managed to do the rest of this wall. It looks like Bobby's going through her teenage years with all these cover-ups, but that's fine. That just needs to dry and then I can sand that all down. We've got our first layer on this bad boy. I'm going to have to do the second layer tomorrow. And Dylan's been working away.
Front. So we're going to say front. Okay. X pastel. This is currently what it's looking like. Yeah, it's coming alive. So we've got obviously the sink, the oven, and a couple of drawers here. Originally we weren't going to put in this drawer because it makes the oven stick up. Which, as you see here, it's about the same thickness as our bench, and it's going to come, this is going to be slightly higher than what you typically get. We would have liked to have had the bench under here maybe. It's not too bad given that we get a whole drawer, so it's fine. Good thing about this drawer as well is books. In this case, bits and bobs, that's Steve-O. We've just got the side panels now which are being glued up. We're gluing two pieces of wood together to then cut out this end piece and this piece. And here's going to be, I think it's going to be a wine cabinet. And this drawer here is massive, absolutely massive. Put a baby in there.
What you doing?
I'm cutting out a snippet for you. Now I'm cutting out the hole for the bath. Hole for the bath? Okay, yeah, now we're going to cut out opening for the sink.
So Dylan's just going to cut that, and meanwhile I'm working on this bloody wall. So I did a second layer of putty where it needed to, and it's all sanded and flash. And now I'm going to put the primer on, whoop whoop, which is really exciting because I feel like that's the first time I'm really going to see it as a wall and not just this mess. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
You know, you go away for 5 minutes and the wall's white and there's a cutout in the bloody edge.
I like it.
It's a big bloody wall now. I was hoping the wall would be smaller. Now it looks bigger. Everyone's be like, why'd you guys paint it? No.
Okay, so Grand Designs.
No, it's cool. I'm going to be made to believe it's cool, guys. Regardless, it's going to be cool. Oh, yeah,
Morning guys, so I've got another beautiful day. Wall's first layer of prime has been done, but we're pretty much at the end of the can's life, so we don't have enough to do a second layer of priming, and because we're stuck in our COVID-19 lockdown, there's no way for us to go pick up some more, which means that we can't prime the wall, we can't prime kitchen carcass. It's very annoying, but yeah, so last night Dylan accidentally broke, or we both lifted and accidentally broke part of our tabletop, which was all glued together last night. Unfortunately the resin hasn't quite dried, so we still have to wait for that to do more progress on that. We're just going to reinforce it once again. Today's going to be a day for small jobs. We need to get the frosting on the back of these two windows now that we know the level. We need to get another layer of varnish on the windowsill that goes behind the kitchen before we can put that in, so I'll be doing that now. And then also we have a windowsill for this one which needs sanding so that it fits real snug, and then that needs its layer of dye and varnish as well. So small jobs, small progress, but that's how it's going to be. And then I think tomorrow or this afternoon we'll be trying to cut out the oven slot of the bench top because that resin should be well and truly dry. But yeah, that's kind of today.
Hey guys, Tegan will probably kill me if I don't say anything for the videos, so I thought I'd give you a bit of an update. Today was quite slow. Originally wanted to get the bench done, but unfortunately it kind of split, yeah. Because I guess we don't know how old that bench is that we're using for the kitchen, and it's just one of the things you have, I guess, when you're using recycled goods. So the way that the panel was, it was kind of splitting where it was joined back in the days, and it doesn't even look like it was biscuit joint. It kind of just looks like it was glued. Which usually can be okay, but in this case not so good. So we're having to reinforce it essentially so we don't do too much double handling. Anyway, we're meant to have done that today, and instead we're waiting for glue to dry. Ironic. Yeah, so instead just fluffed around a little bit, and then kind of got my energy and managed to do a bit of frosting, and Tegan varnished up the kitchen windowsill, which looks good. So I'll just show you that now. So there we go. So this is all going to get hidden by the kitchen. It's just, essentially it's just there so the detail kind of stays the same throughout the bus. So that's kind of what we're going for. Over here it's going to be a little bit thin on the frosting. And the reason why it's a little bit bigger here is because you're going to see the back of all the kitchen essentially, which we're going to try and mitigate as much as possible. So now you should be able to just see just over the bench, or at least the back of the upstand part. But yeah, the windowsills came out quite nice. It's basically just 45 by 45 H3 blocks, I guess. But the colour that comes out is quite nice. And if you look really closely, I don't know if you notice this, but the frosting looks like a dirty shower. So one thing we've realised, that after a couple of days in the sun, the dirty shower actually, well hopefully, fingers crossed, will disappear, and the film just sucks right up onto the glass, and then you might end up with something similar to this, which doesn't quite look as dirty. So that's quite useful. Also quite useful, though, if you can avoid it, it's good, is you spray the shit out of the window, you have the film already cut to size, and then you just put the film on, and then you can move it about as you want. And then when you're finally there, that's when you start squeegeeing the water out, and eventually it gets down, down, down and sucks until it's hard up against the window. Most people, I think, kind of dangle it over the window and then put it down and then cut it. Don't do that in the car. Yeah. Right, cool. So I'm going to lock up. I'll leave you with a photo of the big wall. Big, small, big, small. Optical illusion, definitely. Sweet.
It's just started raining, guys. Ugh, not a great way to start the day. Morning, guys. Back in the morning, guys. Back in the bus.
We should try and do an intro without saying guys.
Okay.
Morning.
Morning. Anyway, back in the bus. It's a pretty drizzly day, so we're literally working out of the bus by the bus. So yeah, we got some stuff gluing. So we have to wait for that to dry. What's your agenda today?
I gotta do everything needed to move into the bus.
What's your more specific agenda today?
Fix that box and build a wall. Bring in the battery box. The battery box might come in first, I suppose. And then that's kind of the last big item to come in.
And I'm working with this stuff and fixing up this wall. Whoop, whoop. Yep.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, it all done except for the bottom, and then we ran out, which is annoying. So we're gonna have to wait till we're out of lockdown to get some more, which hopefully isn't more than a week, because things are going reasonably well in New Zealand. How are you going, Dawn?
Pondering.
Pondering.
No! Water got into the crack! Huh? I sang that. Ay, ay, ay.
So when we got that cabinet, this one came with it, and we thought it'd be a cool electrical cabinet to have. And then we found out there's like a little sticky note on the back which says it was made in 1971.
Is that a good resting height?
It's good elbow height. I think it's a little higher than that one. So we're planning to put our fridge in here somewhere, but we also don't want it this long. We kind of want to cut it back, but we kind of want to keep these retro features.
Especially this one. It's salty.
Yeah.
That is so different, isn't it?
So we kind of want to keep its original features, while also not having a giant unit right there.
So that's the issues of today. Because I guess essentially this is going to be a couch. And my thoughts were always that, you know, this would be a prime spot to sit. Right in here, and have your legs stretched out. Just kind of where that duct tape comes into play. Duct tape? Tape.
Yeah, so we're thinking of maybe round about here.
But fridge is obviously essential.
Yeah.
So we have to be quite considerate.
We do. Morning, guys. So back in the bus. Yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick update. We are in our last couple of days of our level 4 coronavirus lockdown. We should be going to level 3 on Tuesday, which means that there's a little bit more freedom. I few more shops will be open and businesses will be up and running in a safe way. It also means that we should be able to get our hands on some more stuff for the bus finally, which is really exciting. Last weekend was a bit of a slow weekend for us, so we didn't change too much, but we did decide that we're gonna get rid of this shower basin. It meant that the ground couldn't be level, and it also seemed to take away from some space and take away some height from us. So instead we're gonna put down either a tile flooring over the whole bathroom, with a bit of a decline down to the drain, or Dylan's found some other stuff which works as well, that I think works well in camper vans, but I think we're still researching it, but I think he's more keen on that one. That's the biggest decision we've made in a while. Today Dylan's gonna be trimming down our kitchen bench top, and then I'll attack it with the sander, and we'll get that all ready for the splashback to be glued to it, so that can be drying overnight. Yeah, that's us.
So, just so we're right in thinking, we want this to be harder against this.
Yeah, I think so, both of
them.
I mean, if it's harder against that, that means that has to come out a little bit.
And I'm a one away from away.
Beautiful.
Oh, the gap's relatively easy.
Yeah, because I've just made it. So Dylan's just trimmed these edges down, which only took maybe not even 10 centimeters off the edge, but it already gives you a lot more room in the hallway. I think every little thing makes this a much easier movement. And so now my job is basically sanding it all, making it all nice and smooth, just fixing up all these bad edges. You can see this one's on an angle. This is where our sink goes, so I think I'm going to take it out a bit further to this line on each side and fix up these back corners. Biggest problem is because we snapped this all the way to the edge not that long ago, just want to be a little bit careful about that. It is reinforced under there, but waiting for glue to dry is a big issue with our development, so no more snapping, hopefully. Meanwhile, Dylan's job is going to be this wall now. Yeah, so we're going to try to get this wall up, create more of a, I guess, enclosed bathroom situation. We can't really move forward with anything until we get our toilet in, just because we really need to know how the space works, where we're going to drill the shower drain, all of those lovely things. So that's a big next purchase. And then the other big purchase that we can't move forward with until we get is the fridge. We've got this cabinet here, details as well. The only problem is this is also going to be our electrical cabinet, so we really need to make sure we have space for a fridge for those electronics, and also make sure it's not as big as it is right now, because we need to put a couch to there. But yeah, anyway, babbling on. So, trying to get this kitchen ready to be glued tonight. Whoop whoop. Looks safe. Also, you guys might have seen that we have a bit of an arrangement for how we work. where Dylan does all the big cutting and I do all the sanding. Mostly because Dylan doesn't enjoy woodwork as much. He like really enjoyed using these studs, but woodwork not so much, whereas I quite enjoy it, so it's quite satisfying for me to sand away and get everything pretty. Except for this wall. This wall is really just not doing it for me, the sanding wise. It takes so long to get that perfect, and because I'm so worried about putting a flat point in it, we'll get there. While Dylan worked on the wall that would split the bathroom from the wardrobe, I worked on the bench countertop, trying to get a smooth finish. Like the kitchen, this had been a Trade Me find, and actually came from an Auckland University science lab. It was slightly too short for our unit, so we used the cutout that was created to make room for the oven, and glued it to the end to get the length we wanted. And would use a strip that we cut down to narrow the piece as a small upstand that ran across the back.
Managed to somewhat get this wall a little bit closer. Now it's on the edge there. But yeah, it's looking good. Yay! Looks like an inside.
Really smooth and polished. Essentially a big chopping board right now. A few days later, the day after New Zealand moved to level 3, which essentially meant New Zealand Post and some businesses were back up and running, we were able to get our hands on the fridge we had ordered a few weeks earlier. It's an 85 litre isotherm fridge, and she's a little chunkier than we had hoped, but Dylan and I knew that we'd fill that fridge in a heartbeat. This was the first major appliance for the bus, and we were excited to see how she looked inside Bobby. Today's a bit exciting because we have moved into level 3 in New Zealand. Which means there's a bit more freedom and shops are open, so we've managed to go to Bunnings and buy some stuff that we really needed for the bus, including wooden trimmings, more primer, bits and bobs that we just needed to finish off some projects. So right now Dylan's making a template for a potential countertop that's going to go up here once we eventually cut this cupboards down. Basically we're thinking the fridge will go here, but because it sticks out further than this current tabletop, we're going to have to put a new one on, which is the right size. So we're just making a template to see what that might look like. We really don't want to take away from this nice curvature, so yeah, we'll have to see. Now that we had the fridge, we were able to see how it would fit and then create a template of how it was going to work into the area.
So I've significantly cut this cabinet up. Fridge is going to go in there. That's usually when you use a cabinet, you use majority of it. But in this case we haven't. But we'll see how it looks. I'm just going to try and put the fridge in there now. Should fit, fingers crossed. Obviously this is going to be a bit short. It's designed to be. Roughly something like that. So this is roughly what we're thinking for the fridge cabinet. Yeah.
And while Dylan got stuck into another day of cabinet reworking, I had a few jobs to do myself. I just really wanted to show you something very exciting that we have put in or are resting on top at the moment. And that's our bench top. So it came out a really nice orange colour, nice and bright. It looks really cool. Yeah, I'm really stoked with it. It needs one more layer of varnish, but we've run out, so we have to go pick that up today. Yeah, there's just a few thin patches, so one more layer will even it all out and make sure it's all very protective. But yeah, I'm really stoked with it. I think it's come out really well.
you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Been trying to get a hold of you all night. We haven't talked in months, but that's alright. Was wondering if you wanted to go for a drive. I just need some fresh air and an old friend. I'm so glad that we started talking again. Yo, turn up the radio, I love this song. Remember when we used to stay up all night long? How's it been going? Oh, how's it, mom? The roads are so empty, this is so damn calm. If we stick on the highway, we can drive all night long.